I just got my e-residence and electronic ID, which has just recently become available for foreigners in Vietnam. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what it is, who can get it and who needs to get it, what it allows you to do, as well as the process required to get it. I'm Alex Stevenson from Ninja Teacher here in Ho Chi Minh City, where behind me you can see the immigration office, and I'm in a little park here just across the street. And I just completed the process here at the immigration office. So let's get into it. So what is it? Basically, it's a new electronic identification system to replace traditional documents. And they're mentioning things like digital citizens, digital government, digital society. So it seems to be a move towards having a much more digital and electronic infrastructure. The Vietnamese government has been moving Vietnamese citizens towards an electronic identification system for a while now, but it's just become available to foreigners as of the 1st of July 2025. So what does this mean in practice? Well, essentially, it's moving all of your paper documents into an electronic app called the VNeID app. Although my Vietnamese team members said all Vietnamese people are just calling it VNeID. And what this means for foreigners is that you can add your passport and your temporary resident card, your TRC, to the app, and then the app becomes an official form of identification which can completely replace the need to use your physical documents. So in theory, then you can just use the app, you don't need to take your passport anywhere, and your resident card added to the app becomes your e-residence, which you can use in place of your TRC. So what is the purpose and the uses of having the VNeID? The first is for administrative tasks within the government and for you interacting with the government. So things like renewing your temporary resident card, tax filing, and any other sort of interaction with the government, you should be able to use this. And then on the back end, it should make things more streamlined and less paperwork, which is a great thing because Vietnam currently loves its paperwork. Another use will be registering for housing, because when you do rent an apartment in Vietnam, you do need to be registered with the government, and this should help with that process, make it a bit more streamlined for your landlord to register you. And then also if you need confirmation of residence, hopefully that will make that process a little bit easier, because that can be a little bit tricky to get that from the government at times, which you might need for a few things when you're living in Vietnam. And then the other thing would just be the day-to-day things that you need some form of identification for, such as banking, getting a SIM card, even flights and hotels. To me, that would be really great, because then you can travel around Vietnam domestically. You don't have to carry your passports, because hotels and airlines usually want to see your passport, even if you are a resident in Vietnam. And if you're traveling around in Vietnam, then you don't have to take your passport and risk losing it, which is really good. I did see that it should be able to be used with airlines. Let's see how it rolls out. And if that is an option, I think that would be really great if it is. There should be some applications for doing business in Vietnam. Hopefully, again, limiting the amount of paperwork that you have to do. And just in general, I think you're going to see more and more things that will accept VNeID. And the app itself has a lot of functionality to it. I'm not sure about everything that's involved, but you can do a lot of things through the app itself. So who is eligible for it and who is required to get it? Well, as of the 1st of July, all foreigners with a TRC, a temporary resident card, are eligible to get the VNeID. So who is required to get it? As of right now, as far as I know, there's no law requiring you to get it by a certain period. However, functionally, more and more government services are going to require having it. So in reality, you will need to get it at a certain point, because more and more services will require it. Otherwise, you will get to the point where you aren't able to do important things. And your employer might tell you you need to start doing it soon for tax purposes or things like that. One case where it is required is if you're a foreigner and a legal representative of a company in Vietnam. So in my case, as the director of Ninja Teacher, I have to do it by a certain date. I think it's the 1st of August. So what are the steps to get your VNeID? Well, you first have to have your temporary resident card, your TRC. And I won't cover that process because that involves getting a job in Vietnam or getting married and going through all the paperwork to get your work permit and then your TRC. And I've talked about that in other videos, so I won't cover it here. But if you are interested in living and working in Vietnam so that you can get a TRC, you can consider teaching English in Vietnam, which is what we help people do through Ninja Teacher, is move to Vietnam, get trained to be an English teacher, and get a job teaching English in Vietnam. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can head over to ninjateacher.com for more information. I'll leave a link in the description. So once you have your TRC, you just need to bring your passport and your TRC here to the immigration office in Ho Chi Minh City, or the equivalent in Hanoi. The process was pretty straightforward. You go into the building, you pay 30,000 dong at the counter, kind of in the center of the building. They don't really point you where to go when you first arrive, so just go to the counter and pay. Then you line up to have your photo taken. after which you go and verify your SIM card and phone number, so it does have to be registered in your name. And then from there you get a number, wait in line, and then they take your biometric data. You have to fill out a short form, give it to the officer, you'll sign the documents. I was told by my accountant to bring a filled out version of the form, but you actually don't need it. They just fill it out for you, print it out, and you sign it. And then you're done, and they say they'll send your login details within 7 days, but I've heard it just takes a day or two to get the login details. And then you just log into the app, and then it's all there. So I should be getting that in a couple of days, and then I'll have it all set up. It was actually a really easy process. I think I was in and out in about an hour and a half, and then you'll have completed the level 2 electronic identification, EID, and can start using the app as soon as you get the login details. So that's an overview of the new VNeID system and how to go about getting it. Subscribe for more videos about living and teaching English in Vietnam. You can watch another video here if you're interested, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.